Good morning. Am I clicking or are you clicking? Just okay, thank you. There it goes. So thank you for all for being here. I was thinking when Roy left, clearly he doesn't understand where he is yet to get up here and announce the 702 number. So I'm going to have to talk to him. There are other ways to put that out in the universe, but he is going to be an asset for us for sure. Kristen, I am praying for no snow days, just so you know. And Ed Alliance, thank you for all the work you do. We always have a wonderful time out there in the cold. And congratulations to Kristen, who is in the same age group as me, who placed second in the run. Yeah, that's good. You can't dance, but you can run. You're my girl, you know. But it's always nice to be out there with the kids. There's so many activities, so many community partners out there, and so it's such a great time. So we truly appreciate that work that Ed Alliance does for our district. Today we will be working on climate and culture and talking about this call to action around equity. And I want to be clear around this call to action because sometimes you don't have an opportunity to see what happens at the district office. And I'm always cognitively saying that the call to action around equity is not just schools and teachers and principals. The call to action around equity is the district. So that includes HR, that includes IT, operations. Like, it is a huge call to action. And so while you see yourselves doing the work, please know that there's other people doing work, and we're going to bring some of those things to show you what's happening as it relates to equity in the district, not just in the classrooms. So what we know about our students. Can you guys see that? So to be clear, I'm supposed to wear progressives, but that's not happening. It's not, because I can't do that. But I wanted to show the data of who our kids were and then who our kids are today. And when you look at our kids and you look at who's serving, there's no secret. We have transitioned to a minority-majority district. We have a lot of kids living in poverty. When I do school visits, you tell me about some of the challenges around trauma, mental illness, poverty, and so the work is really different. But we know that we have to do different things to support those students. But I want us to go back in time to 2008, a decade ago. I hope this slide is right. Oh, great, thank you so much. In 2008, you can see that the graduation rate was about 50%. And then if you look at the percentage of students graduating that were EL special ed, right? We talk about the call to action around equity as around achievement gaps, right? So if you were a student in 2008, regardless, the graduation rate was 50%, but there were so many groups that were not achieving the same. And you fast forward that to 2013 when we started doing lots of work. Previously, the district did work on SEL. We started implementing a lot of things, and then look at us today. We are better than we have ever been before, and that's to your leadership in your buildings, your teachers making a difference for every child. Are we perfect? No. Do we have challenges? Absolutely. Do we have a North Star to get to 90%? Absolutely. And I always think about when I first talked about 90 by 20, and I remember Troy, you probably don't remember this, but Dr. Parks was like, whoa, right? They're like, ooh, I don't know how that's gonna, it was tough. But we have high expectations for every kid that walks through our building. No matter who we are, no one has low expectations of kids. And if we get to 87, not 90, we have done a better job than we have ever done for the students who we serve. So 90 is just a bar we set. It is a goal. I believe we will get there. I had an opportunity to present information this weekend, and I showed a video of Denise Househour talking about 90%. And it was funny because she was one of the first schools to get to 90%. Think about where we are today with comprehensive high schools that are 90%. There's actually 9 of them, if you don't know that, this year. 9 comprehensive high schools got to 90%. Can those 9 high schools and TMCC please stand if you're here? And as much as I love y'all, y'all do know that there were some middle school folks, right, helping out along the way. Keep standing, because there's more. Don't sit down yet. There's some middle school folks along the way that matriculate kids up to you, right? And in addition to these 9 high schools, Every comprehensive high school is over 80%. So every high school principal, I would like to stand right now. And don't make me call you out, because I will. And it's hard work. Like when I come to your schools and you talk about the challenges and you talk about folks knowing what's going on in their buildings, I can tell you, visiting each one of you, you share some courageous stories. But don't sit down yet. Because this isn't done their senior year, right? And I've really tried to preach this message that it is pre-K to 12. So middle school principals that feed into these high schools, please stand up, which means every middle school principal. That's right, Sharon, tell them, get up. To get kids to where we have to get to the finish line to graduate, right, we have to have some matriculation, and I know there's lots to talk about what's good, and so our middle schools are doing a wonderful job because they contribute to the success of our students. And the largest group, the elementary principals, please stand up, because you send kids up too. No matter what your story, the goal here is you shouldn't be sitting down if you're a principal, for sure. If you are an assistant principal, I'm going to speak to you next, because we know we don't do all the work along. So if you're an assistant principal, whether you're in a middle school, elementary school, please stand up. If you're a department that supports schools, whether it's with students, with initiatives, please stand up. For those of you who have a tough job of working at the district office in the capacity of helping the superintendent as an LT member, please stand up. If you are a community leader, I thought I was going to forget somebody because nobody should be sitting, and you support schools, please stand up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And the reason I want you to look around, our success is not predicated on one school hitting 90%. It's not predicated on one school being 5-star, one school being 1-star. Our success is predicated on us. So look around and tell your neighbor, congratulations, we've done remarkable things. We'll continue to do good work for students, and then have a seat. Thank you. Today, we will have 3 schools do Ed Talks, and I'm super excited about these Ed Talks because some of the principals I've talked to, other of the principals, people have shared with me the work that you're doing. So today, our Ed Talks will be Moss, Men Dive, and Hug. So we're super excited about what they're bringing forward. And I really like the little triangular things with the pictures on them about those schools. So super excited about the work that will come forward to us. School climate and culture are super important for school performance plans. And we know how much you've worked on those. And I know Ben, is Ben here today? Ben and his department have been remarkable, and hopefully you continue to get support that you need to work on those plans to drive instruction in your school, because here's what we know. No one school is the same, and so you have to do what's right for the students you serve in your building and in your community. At the last meeting, you completed a peer review, and I think that sheet's going to come up. And I want to assure you that there's more time to do work in groups today on this peer review plan that you will be working on. And then the mighty stars. So, of course, every year the school rankings come out and you get your star ranking. And so we were sitting in the office. And of course, as a superintendent, I need to speak to the star ranking. And so this is what I said. I remember driving in my car, opening up an email during AYP days, and either it's going to be green and you're super excited, back in the old days, it's going to be yellow and you made it through, or there's going to have a red mark. And then you have to decide how you share that information with your school. And when you share that information with your school, you have to share that information in such a way that, you know, if it's green, let's just face it. If you made AYP, you're like, woohoo, yeah, right? If it was yellow, you like look at what it was and figure out what you're going to do and talk about a plan of action. If it's red, you're like, ugh, like what's going to happen? But in the context of that, it's no different than stars, right? You get a 1-star, I'm thinking a 1-star principal opens it up and like, because they know how hard they worked in their building, they know the issues that they face, and it's a challenge because they've been working really hard. Jonna might not be in here, but Jonna, are you in here somewhere, maybe? Oconee? How many years have they opened up that sheet and it's 1 star. And how many years have you go to the staff because you want to encourage people that are doing the work not to be discouraged because the work is hard. And this year they opened it up and 3 stars. So you know what happens to the staff when that happens, right? But what we know is, just like we say that our kids are not a test score, they are a story, that same mantra applies to our schools. We are more than a star ranking. You might be a 1 star, you might be a 2 star, you might be a 5 star. There's good work, there's work to be done. But we know how much work is being done in those buildings. So if your star ranking came out to something that you do not like, I've been there before. The question is, do you continue to do the work for kids as you work on your school performance plan? How do you encourage? And then how do you get support from the district office? What is it that you need? What are the things we need to do to continue to support you on your efforts? So when you walk into your buildings, because somebody said, I was doing a school visit and they started talking about their star rankings, and I said, to be honest, I don't have them memorized. I truly don't. Like, we'll look at them and talk about them globally. When I walk into your building, I want to know what you're doing for kids, which is the great part, because when we've done about 16 school visits in the last 3 weeks, and they have been phenomenal. They've been phenomenal because we've got to meet kids, we've got to hear stories, we've got to talk to teachers. And one of the things that have come out of school visits is our deputy will be doing shadowing days. Cool. And your superintendent will be team teaching with a teacher all day in each zone. I start off at Dietrichson. Where's Dietrichson at? There you go, Megan. I'm coming, right? And then there's line up. And the idea is to see what's happening on the ground in your building, not just sweep through in an hour, right? Which is hard, but that's the only way we get to more schools. But also to spend some time in the buildings. Because when we spend time in the buildings, we love it. And you know that when we come. We have stories to tell. Just recently I was speaking in DC and I was talking about student voice, and just so happens that I was talking about Maya Barnes from Damani Ranch. Darvell, where are you at? Darvell, where are you at? You somewhere. Oh, there you go, Darvell, right. And Maya got to speak at our data summit, and Maya graduated like 2 days before she passed her test, before the final date, right? But the story is amazing because the story was not about their graduation rate. Their story is about how can we help this student who had grit and resiliency get to the finish line. And Maya tells a story better than I will ever tell her story about falling down 1,000 times in a math class. Cannot pass the class. Teachers are helping her. Cannot pass the class. So they decided to give her a student tutor, a peer tutor. And it worked. And she got a diploma, but to see the smile on her face, the smile on her mother's face who came, is the work that a star will never tell. And so we have to remember in the work that we do every day, there are stories of passion for students, stories of love, because let me tell you, when I go in schools, this whole choose the love thing is insane, and I love it. Kids are like hugging and being nice to each other. You're like, wow, this is wonderful. Teachers are telling me about choosing love. Our work is way better than a performance framework, and never forget that. Because in 10 years, when you look back upon this, you might not remember the framework, because I don't remember all the indices in the framework when I was a principal. But what I do remember is the staff that made a difference in the lives of the kids they serve. So please remember that as you move forward and do the work for our children. And then our equity framework. So as you review your performance plans and the climate information, we will use the equity framework as a tool. You can use the pieces individually, or you can use the pieces together as you fit. And let me tell you, I know this is tough work. Zone 4 people, stand up, please, if you're in Zone 4. This is important. Don't make me call you out, Zone 4. They're probably like, why are we standing? We're in Zone 4. Because I can't be everywhere. I want to personally thank Zone 4. It is hard when the superintendent walks into your session and participates in your work because you need the freedom to talk. I want you to know, when Lauren and I talked about me sitting with you at the last LTL, I said, is that a good idea? Because I don't want people to be uncomfortable. So we decided, Lauren, where's Lauren at, by the way? Is Lauren somewhere? We decided she'd give me a cue if it felt funny that I was going to leave the room, right? So you could do the work. It was so fun to do the work with you around opening and closing doors. We had some laughs, we had some pushbacks, but it really brought to me about the work we're doing around opening doors for students. So I personally want to thank you for opening up in that, because it was not easy work, and I was like, what? But we got somewhere. One of the things I took from that, and I want to share this with this group, is I was working with my partner. I promised my partner that I would not call him out. So just do the math, and you cannot figure out who it's not, right? But I'm not going to call you our partner. But what we talked about in our activities was if we put the details up, everybody would assume his life would have been my life, and my life would have been his life. And it was based on what we believe around implicit biases. And so it was a great learning opportunity zone for me, and thank you for allowing me to participate with you, and you can have your seats. I think you should just know. And they were having some rich conversations, robust dialogue about the work. So, as we close this off, I've shared with you in every school, there's gifts and stories and talents of not only students, but also employees that do the work every day. We have challenges in our district financially, that's not a secret, but we're still better than we've ever been with less. And that's because of the leadership in our buildings, the leadership at the district office, and I want to sincerely thank you as we continue to embark around this work. I have no reservations that we will get to 90 by 20. And 90 by 20 is not just high school. 90 by 20, the work starts the day they enter in our doors, pre-K kindergarten. And because of the work you do every day, we are getting to a point where we're closing achievement gaps for all students. Thank you. Am I supposed to introduce somebody? Oh, as you know, I just totally went off script, right? So I don't know who I'm introducing, sorry. Tiffany, okay. Tiffany, I'm introducing you because I didn't bring a script. I just kind of winged it. And without giving you another hand clap, so hurry up now. Come on. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give our superintendent a round of applause.